Welcome to Logos Bible Software Tutorials. I recently did a video on the workflows part 2. It's in the description. But what really shook me was when I was done, because we worked with the text comparison tool of comparing Bible translations. And when I left there, I just did not feel comfortable with leaving that the text comparison would just what I covered there. So I'm going to cover it today, right now, in more in depth. So let's get at it. Let's get and learn how to compare Bible translations with Logos Bible software using the text comparison tool. All right, here I am, and like always, I like to start with a blank screen. I like you guys to know how I got to the variety of tools. So we're going to do that. So we're going to come in here and we're going to type text comparison. And it shows up. Voila. Yours may look different than mine, but needless to say, this is the text comparison tool. I click on here and it tells me my recent searches. So I've had something like this. Boom. And it compares the various versions. At this point, I want to really point you to a wonderful resource. The guy is named Wesley Huff. Wesley Huff has got some fantastic infographics. And I bring this up because when you're comparing Bible translations, it's really unfair to compare a word for word like the NASB to something like a paraphrase, which is the Message. Or it's unfair to compare the NASB even to the NIV because these are two different translation philosophies. One is seeking as much as humanly possible to keep the exact wording of the original Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, while the other one holds more for a thought for thought. So you're not going, its intention is not to give you a word for word of the actual Greek and Hebrew, but morally to give you a thought for thought. So this is a wonderful resource. wesleyhuff.com/infographics. At the time of this recording of this video, it's about halfway through. He's got a whole bunch on there. So with that, I'm going to show you how to make two different types of text comparisons, naming them and all that. So now we're going to get in here. So our first one, as we come back to here, that we're going to make a translation of the formal equivalents, and we're going to use the NASB, we're going to use the ESV, we're going to use the LASB, and we're going to use the New King James Version. So we have the ESV, the LSB, the New King James Version, and the NASB down here. So here we're going to, so the first thing that our base that we're going to work from is going to be the English Standard Version. So now we're going to type in here and we're going to look for, let's go the NA NASB. We can choose. I have a variety of translations. I like to go with the most recent, the 220. Now, I said also that I want to have the New King James Version. And that's right there where we're going to add that. So as we are adding them, that they're making it longer. So next, I wanted the LASB. See if I have it. Yeah, I have it, the Legacy Standard Bible. So I have each one of these. Here's what I'm also going to do. So I'm going to save this as a particular. So I'm going to call this formal equivalence. By doing this right here, this tells this that this is not part of. So I'm going to save it, and this. So now it's saved. So I see it as a formal equivalence. Now I can add more to here. So say for instance, I'm gonna come here and say I want to add one. Let's see. Let's say I'm gonna add the new Revised Standard Version. I'm gonna add the new Revised Standard Version. So I'm gonna go look, new Revised. So I don't want the Catholic. I just want the regular new. Boom. It's there, and then it automatically, and then it automatically populates. But I'm still going to save it. So right. So I want to save this and new Revised Standard Version. And I'm going to add it. Boom. It's now here. It's now saved in as a particular array. I'm going to enter linear. Now I'm going to do the same thing for a dynamic equivalence one. So I'm going to just remove each one of these. And so let's just make NIV as my base. And I'm going to go more into this. The NIV is going to be my base. I'm going to click that. I'm going to unclick. I'm going to click this here. So now I'm going to look for the CSB. And I'm going to add it. I'm also going to add the NET. I'm going to add it. And I'm also going to add the NLT. All right, now moving on. So now we're going to save this. Now we're cancel. I'm going to have all these. And I'm going to, and here I'm just going to add each one. So the NIV is going to be first. Then we're going to have the NLT, CSB, NET, and now we're going to call this dynamic equivalence. And we're going to save this. So now all these are different ones. So each one, so we have this one saved and this one is saved. Each one is saved. So we now, so I'm going to come back to our formal equivalence one without the new revised standard version. So the first thing I want you to notice here, there's this verses here as well as an interlinear. Now, what's important? These only work with the Bibles that are actually have an interlinear. So it's gonna do word for word how it flows in the text. Just keep this in mind that this isn't going to work is if they don't have an interlinear. Next, you have an option. Do I want to show the differences or not? And what I mean by that, so I got this here. If I don't want to show the differences, so here, if I want to show the base text or not, but this also crosses it out. So and then it just shows you what are the differences. It also shows you what percentage from the base text. So here it's Mark 11. We're going to go back to Luke 1. Now, here that you can probably see it more as much as anything that it's going to cross out what they don't have in common. So instead of so it shows you what they don't or that it crosses out what they don't have in common. Now, so this gives you, and because I mentioned that it does this on the base text. So if we see this, we have a 29% of the first one. If I were to move and change the LASB to my base text, you're going to see this as different. So Luke, that the ESV is 16% different than the LASB. So it changes based on whatever your base passage is, and that is always your first one. That is always. So bring this back. So we have a 16%. So the reason why we have a difference here is there is 16% difference from what the ESV has and the LSB. But if I put those two different, if I put this up front, that you're going to see that it is a 16% difference as well. So just keep that in mind that whichever one is your first, that is going to show how they are different. How they are different. So this is a useful tool. Recap that this is a very useful tool if you don't know Greek or Hebrew and you're trying to find the differences. Let's go back and have the ESV as our top one. So, and that there. So if you want to have one change as your first one, then it's just a simple drag and drop. So what this is showing you is where they have a difference. So if I were So here, it still is a 16, but it's going to show you what words are different. So when I click on this strike through, it shows me that the narrative isn't in there and accomplished isn't in there. And in the NASB, and as much isn't in there, a narrative isn't in there, that had been is not. It is not in the original. And for the last one, the New King James, undertaken is not in there. Compile is not in there, and the is not in there. So it gets very specific, even down to the even down to one word, and lastly, accomplished in there. Now I can. So this is just showing the actual translation of each Bible version. I hope that was helpful for you to understand of the text comparison tool, of the how to create a specific text comparison, how to look for Bible versions in the text comparison tool. Have a great day.